All right, we have five guys up here: Garrett Cole, Spencer Strider, Dylan Cease, Emmanuel Classe, and Joe Ryan. We have all five of these guys paused at the moment in which their front foot has made contact with the ground for the very first time. When that front foot gets into the ground here, we call this foot strike. So when our front foot strikes the ground is where we have paused these guys' videos. At this foot strike position, we want to be able to check off a couple key positions with our body. The first position we want to think about is our belt buckle getting itself rotated and facing our catcher as much as possible. In order to get that belt buckle to be facing the catcher, we need this back hip to have rotated forward. We also need this back knee to have rotated forward. And to help accelerate the back knee and the back hip's rotation, we need to drive through our big toe. And we can see that with all five of these guys, the back hip has gone forward, the back knee has rotated around, and we have driven through the big toe. The back hip has rotated forward, same with the knee, and the foot is driving through the big toe, helping the knee and the hip rotate forward. Same thing with Classe down here. He's driven through his big toe, which helps rotate that knee, which helps get that back hip to rotate, which ultimately gets the belt buckle to face the target. And then same thing here with Mr. Ryan. Everything has rotated forward. What we can also notice and want to check off is that the upper body has separated itself from the lower body. Our shoulders have separated themselves from our hips. And we've said everything with our lower body has rotated to the target. And we just said we want to separate our shoulders from our hips. So our hips going to the target, we need to separate that. So that means the chest, the shoulders, need to continue facing the same way they started. With all five of these guys being right-handed, that means their chest remains facing into third base dugout, while the hips have rotated home. So if we clear all those arrows up and we take each of these guys one by one and kind of make them bigger, we'll watch Garrett Cole in full speed, and then in slow motion we will pause him at that foot strike position. Boom. So again, we want to watch this back hip, this back knee, and this back foot. And we're going to rewind to right before he gets that foot strike to occur. And we're going to watch how this back hip is starting here, the back knee is starting here, and the back foot is still holding its ground on the pitching rubber. And we're going to be able to see how much rotation. Oh, wow, that got aggressive. how much rotation is actually occurring. Boom. 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 Let's take that to our next guy. Spencer Strider. Again, we'll watch it in real time and then in slow motion. We'll pause Strider at his foot strike position. Boom. Okay, we can see back hip is here. Back knee is all the way turned over. Back foot all the way turned over. We rotate, or rather, we unrotate that and we take him back. And we can see when he begins rotating just how much everything gets to rotate forward. Then his foot lands in the ground. Lower body rotates first. Boom. Then the foot gets into the ground at foot strike. We have now successfully separated our lower half, which is facing the target, from our upper half, which is still facing the dugout. The more of this upper lower half separation, or hip shoulder separation, the more of that we achieve, the more power we're going to create, and the amount of stress that gets put on our arm is going to decrease. Let's take this to our next guy, Class A. Again, we'll watch it in real time and then in slow motion. Pause him at foot strike. So boom, there's the foot in the ground. We can see that belt buckle going to that target while the chest still continues to face third base dugout. How did the belt buckle get to the target while the chest remains in its same position? Well, it's because that back knee rotated forward and we were able to drive through our big toe. We were able to rotate our foot around our big toe, which drives our entire body forward. Drives our entire body forward. The rotation of the knee and the drive through the big toe, the folding over of the foot over the toe, rolling my foot over my big toe, helps get everything to drive forward. And then once the lower body drives forward, now it's time for the upper body to drive forward. Go to our next guy, Dylan Cease. Again, first one will be full speed. And this next one will be slow motion. We'll pause it at foot strike. Boom. We can see that same thing, driving through that big toe, folding his foot over his big toe, extending his leg through that big toe, reaching away from the pitching rubber through our big toe. So that way our back knee can rotate forward, along with our back hip can rotate forward. Boom. Boom. And then, as we can see, boom. Our 3 points of our back leg is the hip, the knee, and the foot. We want to be strong in here so we can send power out through here. Bam. And then once we send that power through with the lower half, now it's time for the upper half. And where's our final guy? Joe Ryan. You guys already know the drill. Starting full speed. And then we'll go slow-mo. Pausing it at foot strike, where we can see again driving through that big toe, rotating that knee all the way down and around, getting that back hip to drive itself forward, which gets the belt buckle to the target, which is our catcher. All meanwhile, our chest, our upper body has separated itself from the lower body. Lower body is going to the target. The upper body is fighting to not do that, which means stay back. So that way, once this lower body creates all this power, now we can send it up to the upper body to send all that power out. All right, what we're discussing next is the front leg. As we see, got this nice, good alignment of the hip, knee, and foot going to our target. Everyone's going to have slightly different angles in their lead leg. All right, but the important part is that we rotate this front leg just like we're rotating the back leg. And we can see that the knees are almost synchronized up, synced up, synced up. That the knees are synced up. When the back knee's rotating, so is the front knee. Everyone's going to come down the mound a little different, but regardless, that front knee, that front foot has got to rotate to our target. Once that foot gets in the ground, we have taken energy and we have sent it down this mound. We have sent the energy from the back foot to the front foot. And now we got to get this energy from the front foot up to our upper body and then out our upper body down that mound. And this front leg is a huge piece of that. We have to make sure that this front leg becomes a firm, fixed point that we can drive over and rotate around. We need to be able to drive our trunk, which is from our shoulders to our hips, our trunk, we have to drive over and around our front leg. We're going to be able to do that the fastest and the most aggressive when this front leg is firm. Just like our front leg gets firm when we swing, we need to be throwing on a firm front leg. More guys than not achieve that firmness in that front leg by taking the leg and locking out, stiffening up, or straightening that leg. So this angle that we have here with Dylan Cease, we'll see straightens out, stiffens up, locks out. And when that leg does that and turns into a firm point, that trunk is able to rotate itself in front of the leg, and then also around that leg. So because that front leg got firm, it stiffened up, it locked out, it straightened up, that allows the upper body to get slammed down, sent down, accelerated forward, as the arm is also then sent down. And then we can finish that rotation around. We'll come over here to Class A and we'll look at that same thing. So here's that angle in that front leg. We need to now be able to get that trunk in front of the leg and then around the leg. So we'll watch and see how it doesn't lock all the way out like C's front leg did, but it is firm. There's firmness there, meaning the knee does not drift forward. The knee, in fact, does some of that locking out, locking out, locking out. Okay. Come up here to Garrett Cole. Front leg angle. This has got to become firm so we can get the trunk in front and then around the front side. So we can see Garrett Cole fully locks that thing out. Starting here. Gets to there. And what's that helping? That's helping get the trunk out in front. Out in front. Down the mound. And then ultimately, what else? Around. And then Joe Ryan. Same thing. That angle, that front leg needs to become firm so we can drive that trunk out in front and then down and around. And we can see not a full lockout guy, but a knee is not going to keep drifting forward. So that way it is firm. Now it's locked out. And now I can rotate around it. Around it. Around it. But one of the things we're able to see here is just how out in front through that last part of that ball being in our hands and that first part of that arm turning over into pronation to decelerate, that head to the foot is. That head to the foot is. Head to the foot is. Getting ourselves to rotate out in front. Out in front. Rotate forward. Being able to rotate forward. That's all because that front leg becoming a firm, fixed point that we can drive our chest down to help accelerate our arm out in front. And then we can see the same thing. The Strider is a lockout guy. Stiffening that thing up. Straightening it up. So that way the trunk can get sent forward. Boom. Foot strike, he's here. So as well, we can see getting himself out over that front leg because that front leg became firm. It became a fixed point that we can get out in front of and then also be able to rotate around. All right, so let's now discuss upper body at foot strike here. So again, we're looking at this part of our body. And the first thing we want to think about is our throwing arm. We want to have a 90-ish degree angle in both our elbow and our armpit. We're looking for this glove to be at our chest, straight in front of us to our target. We don't want this glove getting outside of our shoulder. If this glove's getting outside of our front shoulder is going to start to open up, and now we're not going to be able to rotate out in front as well because we'll be tilted and our rotation will be on a slight axis. Again, that chest, like we've been talking about, has not rotated. And obviously, head looking straight over top of our shoulder down the barrel. Pull that our quad view here up with these guys. Get them all back to foot strike. Okay, so as we can see, everyone's glove's in a slightly different position, but the overall theme is what? Glove is in line with chest. Glove is in line with chest. Glove is in line with chest. Glove is in line with his upper body. I don't want to say chest because chest is up here. It's more in line with his midsection. None of the gloves are outside of their bodies. None of their gloves have opened their upper bodies up, and that is why they were able to create tremendous upper lower half separation. Not just because the lower body rotated itself properly and on time, but it's because the upper body did not rotate with it. And the easiest way for the upper body to start to rotate with the lower body is by that glove swooping outside of our body, swooping outside of our shoulder, which would then start the shoulder to swoop out, which would then start to bring the back shoulder forward, which now starts to make the chest, instead of facing third base dugout, starts to face the on deck circle. So now the hips, which are going this way, and the shoulders were going this way for ultimate separation, now the hips that are facing this way, the shoulders are facing this way. Less separation, which means less velo and extra stress on the arm to make that throw, which is the complete opposite of what we're trying to achieve through our good, clean mechanics. So we can see with that glove in that good position, the glove is just going to hold there as the body rotates to it. The glove will hold there as the body of the backside rotates to it. The glove will hold there as the body rotates through it. The glove will hold there as the body rotates through it. Boom. 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 As long as the lower body takes care of business, leading into foot strike, and the upper body has done its job of staying back, everything just happens on its own. But that's why it's so critical that the lower body does its thing on time, and on time meaning by the time that foot gets in the ground, and doing its thing meaning fully rotated as much as we possibly can. And the upper body does its thing leading into foot strike, which is stay closed. Do not open up. Do not let my glove open my shoulder, and keep my arm loaded back. I don't rotate the throw until after the foot gets into the ground. My lower body rotates to get the foot into the ground. Then my upper body rotates after the foot is in the ground. Now it just becomes how fast, violent, and explosive can I make them? All right, so your video is going to play through here 2 times. First time is going to be all one motion, so you can see what you looked like synced up from different viewpoints. The second time we play the video, it will be paused at that foot strike position, so that way you can compare and contrast your body's positions to the positions you just saw the big leaguers, and you can learn things that we need to tweak with your delivery to help you become a better pitcher. Okay, so there's our foot strike position. The moment that the front foot strikes the ground, we talked about in the big league videos, separating our bodies into 2 parts, our upper half, our lower half. We need the upper half to not rotate during this part of our delivery. We need the lower body to have rotated at this point in time of the delivery. And we can look at your 2 halves here, and we can say your front leg has rotated to the target. But then we look at this back leg, and we can see that it has not rotated to the target. And a good clear indication of that is the drawstrings on your shorts are right in the center. And the center would then replicate where your belt buckle is. And we can see that your belt buckle is not going to the target. It's still facing us. Those hips have not separated themselves from the shoulders. The direction your shoulders are facing are very much similar to the direction that your hips are facing. This means we have not created that upper lower half separation. And because we haven't created that, we're going to be minimizing our velocity, and we're going to be increasing the amount of stress that's being put on our arm to make these throws. Both of those are things that we do not want to be occurring as a pitcher. In fact, we need the opposite to be occurring. So we need to fire and rotate this back leg sooner. We need to rotate and roll over that big toe on that back foot more. We need to rotate this back knee to the target sooner. That way the back hip can get driven to the target sooner, which would ultimately get the belt buckle going to the target sooner. And what's sooner? It's got to be by the time that front foot hits the ground. And as we can see, we have not gotten a whole lot of rotation to occur by the time that front foot hits the ground. It's not until after the foot hits the ground does the back knee really rotate. really rotate, really rotate. It's not till after the foot hits the ground does the back foot really rotate over that big toe, over that big toe, over that big toe. And we can see once these two are able to do their rotation, where'd that belt buckle go? To the target. Where'd that back hip go? Forward to the target. Boom. 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 But we need that boom to be occurring by the time that front foot hits the ground, not after it hits the ground. So our back side rotation is late on our lower half. That's one. We got to get the backside lower half to fire sooner, faster, more aggressively, quicker. Whatever type of combination of those you need to think about to help get this backside to fire on time. And right now, your timing is late. We need to get on time. The second thing we're going to notice is this glove. It's starting up here. As it comes out, it's gone to here. Now it's down to here. Now it's down to here. Now it's down to here. Okay, so that's the path that it's taken from the side view. Boom, is that. Now we look from the front view. The glove is starting here, 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 and then now here. So it was out this way and then gets yanked this way. So we got direction of energy going in multiple ways. We have it traveling downwards, and we also have it traveling violently outwards. Our target is out here. So we need to make sure that we do not allow the glove to start to go outwards so much. We need to make sure the glove doesn't drop down so much, because this glove has gone from being in a strong position to being in a very weak position. And if we start strong, we need to stay strong. But we started strong, got to weak, which means that is now going to have an impact on our throw, which is going to make the throw weak. Okay? We need to be thinking about this glove being up in our rib cage area, not down by our knee. Because now we're going to end up with a lot more tilt in our shoulders because of that glove was going in this way. So it's going to pull the shoulder in this way, which is going to pull the other shoulder in that way. And now we got a little bit of our rotation kind of going on angles a little bit more than it should be. We have a little bit too much of our energy going out here, which makes it harder to send all of the energy that way. Kind of see that there with that front shoulder kind of really flying open there for us, which makes it harder to get the power going this way, but a little bit easier for it to kind of just go out this way. Because this is going this way, this will want to go that way. But we need things to go this way. So that glove needs to be more up here, and that will prevent us from this curl occurring, which ultimately is going to help us with both power increasing and our command repeatability increasing. So first thing is we got to get backside firing sooner, faster, quicker, earlier. And the second thing is we need to keep this glove strong. Don't let it swing out and down so much, because now we've gotten into a weak position. Okay, and we just pull up guys here. Cole Hamels. See where that glove's at? Bam. Right in them ribs. Let's go to, oh, that's side view. We don't want that. 2022 first round pick. Obviously for the Blue Jays, where that glove's at. Nice and high, right in those ribs. First rounder in 2021 or 2022, obviously Marlins. Where's that glove? Right in the rib cage. 2020 or 2021 top draft pick. Again, where's that glove at? Right in the chest, upper rib cage area. One of the top left-handed pitching prospects in the Cardinals organization. Watch where this glove's going. Even with a sidearm guy, low slot guy. Where's that glove rotating to? Boom, right towards that rib cage. All right. Top lefty pitching prospect in the Blue Jays organization. Watch where that glove's going. Boom, right into the rib cage. Don't let that thing get down here by the knee. Keep it up here by the ribs. Comes out, 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 and then we got to swivel it into here versus allowing it to just keep going out here. Okay, so we got to use the we got to use the back leg sooner, earlier, more aggressively, and we got to keep this glove strong and closed. All right, bud, it was good meeting you last week. Here's your video synced up. We'll play it 2 times through. The first time's gonna be all in motion, so you can see how your body's flowing. And then the second time, we'll pause it at that foot strike position, so that way you can compare and contrast your body's positions to what you just learned about with the big leaguers. And then we'll discuss some things that we want to be working on improving to help us with our delivery. Okay, so here's that foot strike position. So again, that foot strike is when this foot hits the ground for the very first time. Boom, that's our foot strike. At foot strike, we cut that body in half. We said we want that lower body rotated forward while the upper body fights to stay back, creating our upper lower half separation. The more of that we create, the more power we're going to create, and the amount of stress that's put on our arm is going to be reduced. So we can see this front leg has gone and rotated itself to the target, but we can see that this back hip, back knee, back foot have not really turned over and rotated a whole lot, which means our upper lower half separation is minimized, meaning our power is going to get minimized and the stress that's put on the arm to make that throw is going to start to climb. So what we need to think about is getting this backside to turn over more. And it's going to get turned over more, but look how much more it gets turned over here on this backside leg after the fact of it already being in the ground. Most of the back foot's rotation, most of the back knee's rotation is occurring after foot strike. And we need most of that rotation in the back foot, back knee, back hip to be occurring as and right before that front foot hits the ground. So our backside is late to the party. The back foot is late turning over. The back knee is late rotating forward, which makes the back hip almost impossible to get driven forward. That's our first thing we need to think about, is get this backside leg to fire sooner. The second thing we're going to notice is we talk about that 90 degree angles we want to have in our armpit and our elbow, and we can see that we are very far from that 90 degree angle in that elbow. All right. You and Z are in the same boat here. You guys are doing a lot of loading your arm way back here, way back towards second base, when we need to be loading our arm back towards first base. Load it up back, not load it up away. Don't know why that's popping up. Okay. So the drills that Xander was working on last week, you guys will be working on together. Plus, I'll have new ones for you guys. Okay. We need to be thinking about this arm being back here at foot strike. If this glove wasn't in the way, the ball is hiding pretty much right behind this glove right now. And that's because most of the load was going behind the pitching rubber instead of staying with our body and loading up back here. So that's our second thing, is load the arm back towards first, not load the arm back towards second. Load the arm up towards first, not back towards second. Think about if you were going to punch someone, you wouldn't throw your arm straight back to second base and try to punch them. You'd load that elbow back towards first base so you can be rotating with that strong arm, not a long arm. The third and final thing is watch this back knee and notice how very quickly it just falls in and in and in and in and in and in and in. So if this knee is just collapsing inwards the entire time, that's going to make it a lot more difficult to try to rotate it forward. It's hard to rotate from this position of the leg. It's a lot easier to rotate from more of this type of position. So just very quickly here, doesn't even matter who we pick from the side view, we're going to see it pretty much all the same. Noticing how that back knee is staying back, 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 and now it rotates. The back knee stays back, 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 back. Now it rotates. Same thing. Back knee staying back, 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 back. Now it rotates. Literally not even picking guys on purpose, just going down the list. Knee stay back, 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 back. Now it rotates. Different angle, but still the same thing. Keep that back knee back for as long as we can. Last guy. Back knee stays back, 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 back to rotate it violently. Okay. Versus your back knee falling. Come on now. Falling in, and now it's almost impossible to try to rotate it. So our third thing is we got to keep our back knee back. Keep the weight back, keep our knee back, stay loaded in our legs. So that way we can unload that load. We can't unload that load if the load is just falling. We need to keep it back, back, back so we can rotate it forward.